Welcome back to another exciting episode of Attack and Protection. I'm Bancroft. I'm here today to give you guys another deck profile. But not just any deck profile, but one of my absolutely favorite themes of decks for Dragon Ball Super. And as you can tell by the thumbnail, it is my Prison deck. This is probably... Lineage is my favorite. Prison is probably my second. It's one of those decks that I know that will truly never be... it will never be a tier 1 deck in my opinion. But it's definitely strong, and at least strong enough for me to like it. And I'm just here to show you guys what I've built using the new anniversary box stuff. And hopefully through this deck profile, you all can kind of give me your feedback on what you think could improve upon the deck, or maybe what I'm playing that may be hurting the deck instead. So we're going to go into the deck real quick. But before that, hit that like and subscribe button if you haven't already. Also, comment down below anything you want to see us build or potentially do when it comes to Dragon Ball Super, and we'll try to make it happen as soon as possible. We do have a list of stuff that I'm adding to it, and we're about to start going back to the requested profiles and whatnot, so just keep on adding to that list, and we'll get them out as soon as we can. So, Frieza. Permanent. You can't include battle cards of energy cost of 3 or less in your deck. Okay, that's fine. So no super combos, which is absolutely fine with me. I've grown used to that now. Activate main. Once per turn. Look up to 5 cards from the top of your deck, choose 1 red extra card among them, and add it to your hand. Then shuffle your deck. So that's not bad. You don't get an attack for drawing, but you still get a card into your hand by using your Activate main. Now, when your life is 4 or less, you can Awaken, which allows you to draw 2 more cards. Make sure you try to hold off from Awakening until your turn. That way you can benefit the Activate main and the Awakening. And once Awaken, Activate main again to draw another card, which is pretty awesome. Now, this leader does have a nice auto. When this card is attacked by a battle card, you may choose 1 red Frieza army card from your hand, placing the owners into your drop area. If you do, negate that attack and this skill for turn. So, as long as you have a Frieza army card in your hand, you have a permanent negate once per turn without having to use any energies or extra cards, which is pretty awesome. Please don't mind my dog. We got a new card from the anniversary box. That was a Unison. Frost for the clan. Now, granted, it's not a Frieza army card, but it is a Unison that works with this leader and with this deck's theme. Blocker. 2 red Pacific energy though. You have to pay 2 energy to bring it out, which typically is something I don't like doing. I don't like tapping fully out on my turn, because I like to use my turn to kind of control my opponent's field when it comes to negating and hopefully counterplays, but it's fine. Frost for the clan. Blocker, +1 Activate main. If you lead a card Frieza BR, look up to 4 cards from the top of your deck, add up to 1 mono red extra card among them to your hand to shuffle your deck. So now, you have your leader's Activate main to search for an extra card. You have this card to search for an extra card. Pretty awesome. -2. If your leader card is red Frieza BR, add up to 2 mono red extra cards from your drop to your hand. So if I get him on late game and get to hang on the Frost, I can potentially use to cycle certain extra cards back to my hand when I'm either going for game or knowing that I need to protect myself on my opponent's next turn. So now my other Unison I play is Jiren, Legend of the Universe 11. The reason why I choose to play this Unison as an addition to the Frost one is because this one can apply pressure. So this deck typically isn't able to do that. But if I get this card on the board, this card on the board, it has auto. When your opponent plays a battle card or a Unison, you may choose that card and give it, and it gets minus 10,000 power for the turn. If you do, negate this skill for turn. So once per turn, if your opponent plays a card, I can use this to potentially neg it, which may kill it or may hurt it enough where my opponent can't attack with it unless they want to waste cards in their hand to combo. Jiren does have a +1. It gains double strike. So now it's a single strike, double. And the reason why I choose this one, because like I said, I want that extra pressure. If my opponent has a problem Unison card on the field, I can use this guy, bring him, that way I have something to swing with into my opponent's Unison that has double strike to potentially get rid of 2 markers. Because at 25,000, there's, if I'm correct, no Unison higher than 20,000. So they can't combo it. If they can't negate it, that's 2 markers. -3. Activate battle. Choose one of your opponent's battle cards, ignore Imperior, and it gets negative 25,000 power for a turn. So your opponent plays, let's say, a Secret Rare, 40,000. Boom. Jiren's effect goes off, minus 10,000. They swing let's say it sells Xena, for example. If it play in the right situation, it has dual attack. I will negate with, let's say, paralyzing technique. Okay, well, it's 25,000. A lot of people forget about this activate battle. They'll swing again. I won't combo. I won't negate. Then they go into their combo. They're like, aha, I got you. I'm like, cool. -3. Negative by 25,000. Hopefully that's enough to keep me from, having to waste any cards in my hand. But if it isn't, it's fine. When that combo step is up, that card is gone because it has 0 power. So, pretty awesome. Alright, now let's go into my extra cards. And we're going to start with my negates and my favorite one, at least for this deck. Paralyzing Technique is one of my favorite negates for this deck, only because it negs 5 to battle cards and leaders. Now, unfortunately, this card came out before the Unisons were a thing, so it doesn't hit Unisons, which is fine. But hitting battle cards and leader, most of the time, my opponent just ends turn, which is pretty nice. We do also play 3 after images. So in case I happen to tap out, I can just take a life to use this negate. Or, if I have the energy, which I a lot of times do, just pay the 1 energy plus 40,000. It doesn't stop the battle, but most likely I'm negging a card that my opponent hasn't swung with yet. Boosting my leader for the turn, so they just pass it on that one. Or, sorry, they don't combo on that one. Also play 3, Is That All You Got? Another great negate for red. If your leader card is red, negate the attack. Then you may choose 1 red card in your hand, place it into your drop area. If you do, choose up to 2 of your opponent's battle cards and you get minus 15,000 power for a turn, which is not bad. I chose to go 2 of the new negates from the anniversary box. Planet Vegeta's Final Moments. Negate the attack. Then, if your leader card is red, Frieza BR, choose all of you and your opponent's leaders and battle cards, and they get minus 10,000 power per turn. So, using Planet Vegeta on top of Paralyzing Technique is amazing, especially against a Ginyu deck. Mainly because, they're flooding that board with 15s. They swing with 1. I use Paralyzing Technique. Okay, cool. My leader still 10,000. Most times they'll still attack. Just use Planet Vegeta. Now, the leader card's for sure 0, and all their battle cards are gone. Or just, once again, it's just another way of stopping my opponent from attacking. So, now granted, it does hit my leader, but it's fine. Typically, it's the last resort to play on that one. We play 2 of the Wolfang Fist, which goes great with my Unison. So, for 1 energy, normally, if your leader card is mono red, choose up to 1 of the attacking battle cards or leader cards, ignoring barrier, and gets minus 15,000 power for battle. Most times that kills a battle card, or it stops my opponent's leader from attacking or comboing. Permanent: if you have a red Unison in play, you can activate this card's counter skill from your hand without paying its energy cost. So it doesn't matter what the Unison's markers are. As long as I have a red Unison in play, it's free to play. And last but not least, play the Grand Eagle. I play this as a 1-of. This is mainly for I'm playing a deck that I know has like a Victory Striker, or if I know they're playing a certain secret rare, it just helps protect me against that attack. They swing this behemoth of a card, and I'm like, cool, counterattack, boost my leader by 100,000. Do you want to combo that? Most times they're like, nah, pass. I'm like, cool, thanks. So those are pretty much my negates. I do play a little bit more, but we'll get to those when we get to that moment. I'm kind of just showing off my extra cards right now. So I took this card out of my last take on Prism because I was going the kind of like the red-blue route for a while, or I was messing with red-yellow or red-green. So I'm bringing it back since it's a monocolor deck. Kaba's Awakening. For no energy, it activates battle to 1 of your red cards and it gains 6,000 power for duration of battle. That's phenomenal. So I can use some of my battle cards, I can use this on my Unison if I'm attacking, I can use this on my leader. It just gets plus 6,000 power for duration turn. It's free to play, and it's another extra card going to my drop without me having to waste any energy on it. So, and typically these are what I would bring back using Frost's abilities at late game plays. Play 2 Gallic Cannons. Counterplay: when the battle card is played, choose up to 1 of those battle cards. It gets minus 15,000 power for duration of turn. That's simple, easy. I play 1 of the Omen of the Awakening. Pretty much your Denial of Hope with a chance of being 1 less energy. So if your leader card is red and you choose 1 card in your life, place it in your drop area. If the battle card being played has 20,000 power or less, it is placed in its owner's drop area instead of being played. Permanent. If you have a red Unison with a specific cost of 2 in play, reduce the energy cost of this card in your hand by 1. So the trade-off is that it takes a life. Sometimes I don't want that to happen. So that's why I played 2 regular Dot Hopes. So in case it's early enough where I can take a life, then I'll use him. Hopefully I have a Unison on the board, that way it only costs 1 energy to use this effect. But if not, then I'll hope works just the same. Once again, if your leader card is red, if the battle card your opponent's playing is 20,000 power or less, it's placed in the drop area instead of being played. There you go. And for control on my opponent's field, I play 2 of the Live to Fight Another Day, which I took out as well, mainly because so many cards were coming out with the arrival and the quickly playing cards. There was no reason to play Live to Fight Another Day because there was ways around it. But now, a lot of people are going back to more monocolor decks. I decided to put 2 more in this deck instead. So active main, if your leader card is red, Frieza's army, and your opponent has 3 or more energy, draw 1 card, and for the duration of your opponent's next turn, your opponent can't play battle cards with 20,000 power or less unless they choose 3 cards from their hand and place them in the drop area as additional cost. So it doesn't say where that battle card is being played. It just says your opponent can't play battle cards with 20,000 power or less. So they bring it from the deck or from the drop. Can't happen unless they discard cards. Now, for the next set of cards coming out, I need 3 new model scouters. I may bump this up to 4. Just also have that extra card in my deck. But so far 3 seems to be pretty alright. So new model scouter. Activate main. Look up to 7 cards on top of your deck. Choose up to 2 red Frieza army cards with energy cost of 4 or more among them and add it to your hand. So this deck can't play battle cards of 3 or less. So this card should hit almost every card in my deck. And what are those cards? Let's find out. So I played 2 Kiku the Fledgling, which when you play or combo this card, if your leader card is red Frieza army, you may choose 1 card from your hand, place it in the drop area. If you do, choose up to 1 of your opponent's battle cards, and he gets minus 5,000 power for duration of turn. So the way to look at this card is that, let's say I've already negged 1 card. Cool, my opponent has another card attacking with, they attack that card. I come up with this one and neg that additional card I've already hit by another 5,000, or I hit the attacking card that goes up by 5,000, and this card brings my leader up by 5,000 because it's comboed. So it creates a 10,000 difference already there, which is pretty nice. And I played 2 Loyal Kikunos. Now, when you play or combo this card, if your leader card is red Frieza army, choose up to 1 red extra card in your drop area and add it to your hand. Yes, I could just use Defrost to negative 2 it to get 2 extra cards back to my hand, but if I have the energy for it, I'd rather combo with this card, get the extra card back, or I can use this card as a way of negating for my leader in case my opponent attacks my battle cards I don't want to go through. I put 2 of the new Friezas from the anniversary box as well in this deck, which activate main for 5 energy. If there are 5 or more red extra cards in your drop area, play this card from your hand. So it's another way of getting a high power card onto the field that goes into the ultimate chain for this deck. Now this card does have an auto. If your leader card is red, Frieza army card, and there are 2 or more mono red extra cards in your drop area, when this card is used in a combo, choose up to 1 of your opponent's battle cards and gets minus 10,000 power for a turn as well. So once again, if you already negged the card, use this to neg another card, or neg the same card. But I do play 4 of the regular old school 7-drop Friezas, which has double strike. In the permanent, if there are 5 or more extra cards in your drop area, reduce the energy cost of this card in your hand by 1. If there are 10 or more extra cards in the drop area, reduce the energy cost of this card in your hand by 1 more. So this card is also a 5-cost card. And when you play this card, if your leader card is red Frieza army card, choose all battle cards with 25,000 power or less other than this card, ignoring barrier, and KO it for turn. And just KO them. So it's potentially a board wipe as well. And once either him or either one of these cards are all on play, I play the Golden Freeze on top of that. So, EX Evolve, choose 3 cards from your hand, place them in your drop area. Red Frieza BR card with energy cost 7. So, obviously, he goes on top of one of these cards. He has crit, 30,000. When this card evolves to this card, you switch to active, so I should attack with this one first, or that one, whoever I have, just to get that additional pressure out there. Now, if your leader card is red Frieza army, you and your opponent can't play battle cards with 30,000 power or less unless they choose 4 cards from their life and place them in the drop area. So, the idea of this deck actually, I'm kind of going back to the way I used to play it. I don't swing my opponent at all. I just let them stay at max life, play him, and hopefully they'll take the bait. They'll just, well, I need to awaken, and need benefit, and need to go off on this turn. Sure, I'll play a card real quick, sack the 4 life, and then I just gotta protect myself at that point on. And once I protect myself on my turn, hopefully my life is 2 or less. That way I could play this card for 5 energy as well. So because power's 40,000, it gets past the permanent of the Golden Frieza. Wow, I can't talk to either. But quadruple strike. When your life is, like I said, if your life is 2 or less, reduce the energy cost of this card by 3. Auto. When you play this card, your opponent reveals their hand. Choose up to 1 card from your opponent's hand, then place it in the dropper. Then choose all of your opponent's battle cards, battle cards of 40,000 power or less, ignoring barrier, and KO them. So, once again, if your opponent somehow finds a way to get out some powerful card, even with this thing on the board, he'll just kill it right afterwards. So, now for a little extra protection, I have 1 more negate, which obviously I'm playing a red deck, so I gotta play the Topo. If you're not familiar with Topo, choose 1 other card in your hand, place it in your drop area, negate the attack, then play this card. If it's your opponent's turn, reduce the energy cost of this card in your hand by 2. If it's your opponent's turn, when you play this card, for duration of turn, your opponent can attack, unless they choose 2 cards from their hand and place them in the drop area. Each time. So, if your opponent doesn't have a mini card in your hand, most likely when you negate with this card, they're passing. To help take care of a board, I play 2 of the Super Saiyan Vegeta Exploding Weakness counterplay. Play this card. If your leader card is red, reduce the energy cost of this card in your hand by 2, making it a 3 cost. When you play this card, choose all of your opponent's battle cards, and they get minus 20,000 power for duration of turn. And if it's your opponent's turn, choose up to 1 of your leader cards and he gets plus 5,000 power for duration of turn as well. So, if they have anything 20,000 or less, it's gone. If they for some reason have something higher than 20,000, like a 25 or 30,000, my leader gets a 5k boost. So, unless they want to waste cards to combo, they're done with their turn most likely. And last but not least, I do play 2 of the Frieza's Fair Weather Fiend. This one works great with the Frost, but not the Gerents, because it does have double strike. It is unique. If your leader card is red and you have a red Unison with a specific energy cost of 2 in play, at the end of battle, which you combo with this card from your hand, play this card. Auto, once per turn, when your opponent activates a counter skill, it can either be counter attack, counter play, counter, choose up to 1 of their battle cards ignoring barrier, and it gets minus 30,000 power for turn. So, yellow has a lot of ways. I think yellow is the only way, unless you do yellow splash, for a counter. So, what I like to hopefully see one day with testing this out, is that someone's like, I attack. I'm like, cool. I negate. They're like, I counter. I'm like, did you forget I have this card on the field? And they're like, oh, cool. Okay, it was a battle card they're attacking with, hopefully. If not, it's another card my opponent has to play around, because I'll never swing with this card. I don't want my opponent to potentially attack this card. Now, granted, it doesn't have barriers, so it can be targeted by other means. So, you just gotta know when to play it, and hopefully you can keep it on the board. So that is my take on my new Frieza deck. We tested against Ginyu, that's why I mentioned that beforehand. It managed to beat Ginyu. We also tested against one of Philip's new yellow-blue Gotenks build, and unfortunately that had just enough control to out-control me, which it happens, it's fine. But I still love Prison, I love the idea of the deck, and hopefully, with your all's help, we can find a way to make this deck even better. That is it for me today. Thanks for tuning in. Like always, hit that like, subscribe button. And also, read your cards, know your plays, and like always, fluff out.